What's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are listening to the Mindshare Podcast, a proud member of the Industry Syndicate Media Network. Additional podcasts are available at industrysyndicate.com and mindshare101.com. This week's episode is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems. This is episode 39. Before turning a lifelong passion into a profession as a realtor, he went to university focusing on human resource management at Ryerson. After a number of years, he decided to change careers and parlay his interest and skills into commercial plumbing. Then, the slowdown of the economy drastically affected the industry and the supply of work in the GTA. Seeing this as an opportunity, he dove full steam into real estate. He has a natural ability to speak and negotiate with people. He is accustomed to working hard, always keeping the big picture in focus, and managing resources to get to the desired outcome for his clients. He says that being a realtor is more than a profession for him. It is a lifestyle. Joining me today on the Mindshare podcast is lifestyle realtor, Mr. Michael Samrah. Mike, you there, my man?
I'm here.
Yeah, hey, buddy. What's going on? Thank you so much for joining me today, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's awesome, man.
I know you're a busy guy, and I know your mornings are definitely packed. In fact, one thing I did want to mention here is that you are a cold calling beast. I actually had the opportunity to tune in and watch you live yesterday, which was a lot of fun. You did an absolute great job. And I say this sincerely, there was just a real natural ability with people. Your process was on lockdown. And I mean, I'm going to make an assumption here that this is probably a serious source of income for you. And I assume that again, just based on having watched you. So that was good stuff. But there definitely wasn't that, kind of like we joked about before of like, okay, what do I say next? Okay, what do I say next? And I would say that is a big part of what I wanted to get into with you here today. There are so many people that hate cold calling. There are so many. I mean, I think outside of you and me, most people hate being cold called. And I mean, personally, I love it. Especially when it's a realtor. Like, I want to hear their spiel. I want to hear the pitch. I want to see, like, what are you going to say? Were you even prepared to call and get somebody like me on the phone? Like, do you have a plan? What's your next step? Are you just looking to put a sign on my lawn?
Yeah.
Or did you think this one out? So seriously, and this is to everybody listening and watching right now, like, seriously, for anybody, call my house. You better be prepared. But yeah, I wanted to dive into that. But just before we do that, I want to set the stage. Tell us a little bit more, like, you, Mike, how long have you been selling real estate? Give us that background a little bit.
So I've been doing it for about 9 years now, just a little bit over 9. I kind of really found my passion. Like you said, I was a commercial plumber before this. When my wife, we just had our son. I have 3 kids. So my first one was born. I literally quit my plumbing job. My wife was on mat leave. We had no income. I started taking real estate courses and said, this is what I'm going to do. She fully supported me, and basically haven't looked back since.
So it's been 9 years of really going through this biz. And I'm sorry, how old is your oldest child?
So I've got an 11, a 9, and a 7-year-old.
So while you've been doing this new real estate business, you've actually basically had 3 kids.
Pretty much, yeah, 18 months apart.
Yeah, and I mean, even though the oldest is 11 years old, it's 2 years old when you're just starting the biz. That keeps you busy.
Very much so. Very much so. So finding, definitely a lot of trial and tribulation, a lot of hardship at the beginning. But like they say, it all leads to good stuff in the end. So.
And you know what, man, I think from a time perspective, kids, and it's funny, I joked about this yesterday in one of my stories on Instagram. I kind of made comment to the fact that my wife has to be one of the happiest people on earth right now. And not to downplay the love we have for our children and how much we enjoy spending time with them, and how that's really why we do what we do every single day in life is try to just get home to hang with them. That being said, I've had the good fortune to be able to leave the house every day to come to the office, get stuff done. She's been home with them. So he was really pumped. But I mean, from a time perspective, they definitely take up a lot of our time in a good way. That being said, when you're trying to build a biz, that's a lot on your plate.
It definitely is. Definitely that balance, like everyone says, that whole work-life balance is hugely important. And, you know, you look at our industry, a lot of people don't even have that mastered. And you see unfortunate things happen with families because of this business and because that balance doesn't exist. So it's a very hard thing to accomplish. And I think between me and my wife and the kids, I think we've done a pretty good job at it. So.
You know what, man? It definitely takes a team to get that stuff done. I can attest to that one. If my wife is listening, I just want to tell her how much I love her and how much I'm grateful for her. But let me ask you this then. So what was the first thing that when you did get into the biz, what was the first thing you did to try and earn a living? Like, yeah, you got your license. Yeah, you signed with a brokerage. But like, what did you do for marketing? What kind of budget were you working with?
So basically nothing. So I got my license 6 months.
So you're like most people then?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know what to do, right? Like I said, I'm here to make billions of dollars, but I don't know what to do. So yeah, I was pretty much struggling in the sense that I don't know how to generate business. I don't have a huge network base. I have no family that live in the city. So all my little network of friends weren't really looking to buy or sell. So I was struggling. So what I actually started doing was I started emailing people off Kijiji FSBOs. And I emailed so many people every single night that actually Kijiji kicked me out saying I've exceeded the maximum amount of people I was allowed to contact.
Oh man, eh?
Yeah, so I did that. You
started doing this stuff through Kijiji, like just tapping into who?
And I went on with people that are looking to sell their house, people that are put their ads on there, calling them up, emailing them, asking them questions, doing some type of, you know, boring scripts from all the different coaches that I was researching and trying to do that. Little did I know that, and we might get into it later, that a FSBO is probably the hardest person to convert. It takes a huge amount of time. It does take a lot of contact ratios to get to them, a lot of follow-up. But I did convert a few of them, and that's how I literally started getting some success.
Interesting, eh? So you actually started off by, okay, so here's the deal then. So you went after immediately people you didn't know. You had a little bit of a process to what you wanted to say. And that's where you started getting into that. And I mean, I guess there's a natural kind of flow to where you are today and how you've improved on what you're doing now and why it's so smooth. I guess that kind of led to a bunch of that though. So you were going after strangers. That's an interesting one. And then there wasn't much budget there. So it was more grind it out and get going.
Pretty much day in and day out, go to the office, calling these people. And I used to record myself. So I have recordings back when I started.
I love that.
20 minutes of discussing with them when they're looking to sell. Can I come look at their place? Just going through the whole process. But I did it out of necessity. Now, I mean, if you were around back and Mindshare was around back then, maybe it would have put a little different perspective on things, but I didn't have that network. So for me, I had no one to reach out to. So it was out of necessity, which led me to reaching out to strangers, basically. So.
And you know what, though? I mean, again, I don't want to say the word I want to use. That it takes, you know what, to do that though, right? Like you've really you gotta be dedicated to what you're trying to do. You got to really want it bad enough, and then you got to muster up the fact that you're probably going to be told no a hell of a lot more than you were told yes. In fact, you probably experience a lot of that on a regular basis.
All the time.
Like the word no.
Yeah, but I have the mindset of I need to get my 80 no's to get my one yes. So every no is closer to that yes. So it's not home runs all the time, man. I'm just, okay, I'll strike out. But I know I'm eventually either going to get a base hit, a double, triple, or a home run at some point. So yes, I know. Just keep on throwing that ball and I'll keep on swinging away.
And you know, it's funny you say, I mean, listening to you and watching you live yesterday, which by the way, everybody that doesn't know, and we'll share that a little bit more after, but Mike has a group on Facebook called Prospecting Ninjas, and he actually goes live. How often? Every day?
I call every day, but I probably record it every couple of days, once a week. Now that I'm back to, normality, I'll try to do it at least once a week. It's not the most riveting thing to watch me cold call.
No. It's not about that though. And that was, again, there was the tune in, right? And there, just to piggyback off what we were just saying about all the no's versus the yeses, it was watching you live. And look, I've grinded out and I grind out the phone still. And I think that's a massive thing to connecting with people, because people are actually go, oh my God, it's good to hear from you. Right. Mm-hmm. That being said though, for the amount of people that were like, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Hey, you even asked a question about somebody, can I get your email? And it was funny because her response was actually, I don't have an email address. And we joked about that afterwards, but I thought it was kind of a witty response from her, whether it was true or it wasn't. but it's like deny, 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 deny. And then it's as you kept going, it's like people were like, well, I was thinking about, and I was looking at, and now you're starting to break that, right?
That's it. That's what I'm listening for. I'm listening for that hesitation. And that's what I guess over the years I've developed is that as soon as I get that hesitation, that's when I'm kind of going to then dive deeper. And I've explained it before to a lot of people that come to me. It's almost like a family tree. I know the answers and what questions I'm going to ask and where it's going to lead me to next. So I'm already 2 steps ahead of these people in my head already, because when they say this, I know I'm going to go now here, 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 here. It's hard to explain it, but in my head, I already have it mapped out, and it's come over years and years of handling objections. They say this, you say this, and then back and forth, right? So.
And that stuff, listen, that stuff is key. And we've joked around together before in the past. And I mean, I'm sure a few more times today about scripting,
Yes.
and being totally rigid. And I will say that even in our Mindshare challenge, we give people some scripts around to do certain things. But one thing that I always preface to everybody, and I want to say this now, is that, even if Michael was to provide you the what to says, I know if my advice, and Mike, I'm sure you'd probably agree with this one, is don't use the words we use. Don't say it the way I say it. Say it the way you say it. Say it the way it's going to come out of your mouth, because this way it's going to seem natural.
Tonality, speed, all that kind of stuff. Like I use scripts. I 100% use scripts, but it doesn't sound like a script because I've internalized it. I believe it. It's genuine to me, and that's where people struggle. Well, I don't want to sound like a robot on the phone. I don't want to use scripts. Well, if you don't know where to be next, then you don't know what to do. So that's the hugest thing. That's what a script allows you to do, is where am I going to be next? Where is this person taking me? And the whole idea behind the script is that I'm controlling the conversation.
Right.
You're talking, but I'm going to ask the questions to control you and guide you, almost like herd you to where I want you to go.
Yeah.
And as I do that, I can predict kind of what you're going to say, what comes next. And because again, over the years practicing role playing, which is huge, I know it comes natural as what to say next. And that's the hugest thing. So you want to map out your whole conversation and internalize it and be able to, off the cuff, be able to have this conversation. And as it comes off naturally, people connect with you a little bit better.
I want to actually get it a little further into that. Just before I do that, I wanted to know, so how long did it take to get like the first deal? Not necessarily just cold call, but even the Kijiji play,
Yes.
like, brand new in the biz, 9 years ago, 2-year-old at home, things are going crazy. I got to imagine wife was pregnant probably based on the age groups you're talking about. How long did it take to get that first deal, and how scary was it?
So it was funny because while I was taking my courses, I was unemployed. My wife was getting mat leave. I actually started up a vending business. I met a guy who actually is a cop who we did this business together where we were selling vending routes. So we would call up factories, put vending machines in, put a route together, and then sell this route to people. And we sold like $90,000 routes. So
Wow.
During that time, I was doing that.
Okay, so there's some extra income coming in.
Which was cash, which was hustling just as much.
Dude, you were just a hustler, eh? Like you got this shit, man.
But it was a struggle. Let me tell you, there was times where I knew back then my mortgage was weekly and my payment was like $500 a week. And I remember going in Sunday nights, depositing $505 into my account, and Monday morning having only $5 left in the account. So I know what it's like not to have that in there and how hard you have to work for it. And my first deal, or my point is, my first deal came from one of my vending clients.
Wow. Okay.
He was actually quite an affluent guy. He worked for a construction company. They redid a church in High Park, and there was one unit left. And he gave it to me to sell, and I'm thankful to this day to this guy because he's the one who gave me my first deal. He allowed me to list it, and I sold it, but it took me 6 months to get that.
Okay, wait then. I want to make notice of something right here. So first of all, when I asked you what the first thing you did was, we sort of agreed on, and when we call Kijiji, you went out to the strangers, right? And that is something that I think 99.9% of realtors are going to do when they try to get their first deal, is go out to strangers. And I always sit back and say, look, if you want to get started in your real estate business, the first thing you need to do before you even brush your teeth this morning is build yourself a contact list. Go and put everybody that you know, everybody that knows you, likes you, and trusts you, and put them on a list. And you guys have heard it millions and millions of times, and I've probably been the one to tell you millions and millions of times, on top of everybody else who said it. That said, you went down the road to go after group number 2.
Yeah.
For all the grind you did and all the the sweat equity and the time and the hours and the denials you received, you said, hey, I've got to do something to make a living. So you went and you still had the vending business. And lo and behold, through grinding that out and doing the things you're supposed to do to really build a business, somebody you actually knew was the first person to give you a deal.
You hit the nail on the head, man. So it happened to be someone from that I knew that was, I reached out to them. Like you said, what they tell you, put together a list, let everybody know. And I did that. I did my phone calls to all my people, telling them that I had it, and he let me know about this property, and I kept up with them, followed up.
What do you got, the TV on in the background there? What are you watching?
Sorry, I'm in my office working, man. There's
nice, buddy. I love it. No, just playing with it. So, but there's a great point to be able to make, right, to people, is that it's important that they understand that deal came from somebody you know rather than somebody you don't know.
100%.
Right.
Funny you mentioned that was the deal. That first deal came from that gentleman. After that, it was the grind through strangers, through listing people, through FISBOs. But that was, I consider that back then, which I wasn't very knowledgeable, that was a buckshot. So those people who hunt around, a buckshot spreads all over. And then after you start to realize I need to actually narrow that down and focus it. And now I primarily call my farm area. And that's so the advice I give people is hone in. The more specific you can get, the better it is for your results.
Whoa. Are you saying to me as a realtor that I should not be trying to go after 36 million people in this country?
Good luck with it. And if
really?
They can, that's fine. Yeah, I guess not. So
go figure.
Yeah, my area is only about, I nail out 3,500, but it's probably no more than 5,000. And that's the reason why I do it, is because now I've realized that for me to go over everywhere, it's impossible. And you can't.
You know what?
You're not doing your clients any justice, because I don't know as well that area. But when I do my farm area, I can name off everything from 1980 that happened to that area to today. And guess what? They now see they're confident in my abilities, because I'm the smartest at the table.
Well, okay, so this was, again, yesterday, there was one lady and she said something to you, and then you said, yeah, but you're not on the ravine. And she went, I know.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you looking at a map? You have this in your notes, but you know the area. You've been really honing in on the neighborhood, so you understand where she's at, what she's doing. You're probably keeping some good notes around that, and I give you massive credit for that. Those are the little things, though, that get her going, okay, this guy knows the neighborhood. This guy's not just fly by night. Some of these people are like, oh, Michael, I know you. You know what I mean? It was one of those, which is amazing, right? But that's good stuff, though, buddy. That's mind share, right?
That's 100%. But that's not something, just like, it's not something that happens overnight.
No, it doesn't, man.
Over years and years of flyering, for sale signs in the area, calling the people over and over and over again, through emails, through all that stuff, where then when you finally pick up the phone 6-7 years later, like, oh yeah, I know who you are, right? So that's what happens. But people, I think in general, people expect that instant gratification, that I'm calling, I'm supposed to get it right away, they're going to know who I am automatically. It doesn't happen that way. I think that's where most people get discouraged.
That's why we teach the 10-year plan. I mean, part of the challenge, the mindshare challenge, like, it's 10-year plan. It's not call me today and put a sign on my lawn tomorrow, or knock on my door, or send me a newsletter, or email me, or social media post, whatever. It's not that.
Phone call anyways, right? Like, the reality is that very rarely have I ever got a call. Once I got a call. Come tonight, bring the listing agreement, and then I'll get it signed. And I was like, what?
9 years in the business, right? So where's the majority then, Mike? Where's the majority coming from then? Because you are calling the farm area.
Yep.
You've obviously got a great process for what to do to go out there and, like, prospect, right? Yet it seems like you're taking some really diligent notes. You know the people who you're calling. So a lot of them seem to have known you. You're working off of a contact list. Well, I guess the question would be, like, are you seeing most of your business from people that are total prospects, or are you seeing it from people that you know? And I'd say group number one, people you know, group number two, people you don't know. And just before you answer that, saying this, that if I was somebody in your farm area 4 years ago, but you have diligently kept in touch with me and I'm now on your list, I'm technically in group number one, although I began in group number two.
Yep, 100%. So again, as you mentioned in my Facebook group there, Prospecting Ninjas, I have a couple of people in there that I was in contact with them 2 years ago, 3 years ago, who I've been following up with, and they finally sold. They finally listed with me. I don't get them all, but it's that diligent follow-up that gets it done. 60% of my business this year, and I just did my numbers, came from cold calls.
60.
60%.
Now, cold calls, though, but again, cold call that started 4 years ago?
Some of them started a couple of years ago, some of them started this year, but 60% of those originated from a cold call. I'm just looking at my list here. So I did one cold call this year that got me 4 deals in the end.
Okay. Now, again, though, and I mean, this comes down to process for everybody listening. You didn't make the cold call today and get the deal today.
No.
The cold call started at one point. And I guess this is the perfect segue to go right into this, because I wanted to ask you about this. What is that process, right? So let's just go down that road, because this really works out perfectly here. You made the cold call. The cold call happened a year, 2 years ago, whatever. Okay, 6 months ago.
Yep.
Share with us your process without giving us your trade secrets that you don't want to share. Keep that to yourself, obviously. But give us what you can in terms of people we know, or pardon me, people that are listening in going, okay, fine. I'm going to follow this guy's advice, and I'm going to start with the cold call, but what should I be doing? Because Dave and Mike just said that I'm not going to necessarily get a deal right away. So what does that look like? Take us through that. So it circles back to group 1 or 2.
Fair enough. So the very first thing is on the cold call is finding the motivation for the seller. That's my number one thing. I want to find out why they want to sell, when they want to sell, the reasons behind it. I need to know what that motivation is, because if I know what their motivation is and the reason they're selling, I'm able to sell to them, or I'm able to help them and provide the solution to them. That's the whole idea. Somebody has a problem. If I don't know what their problem is, I can't provide a solution.
Okay, but now, sorry to interrupt you there. Then you've just called me out of the blue. Who said I'm selling?
Well, because I'm asking if you're selling.
Okay, gotcha.
That's the whole idea.
Okay, so the whole thing right off the hop, because I saw you do that yesterday. Yeah. Are you thinking of selling?
Is there any interest in selling this year? Right, and that's my first question. Is there any interest? And it's not a hard sell, and that's what I'm asking. Have you thought about selling this year? So it's almost like we're having a conversation. Are you thinking about selling this year? And then I listen for the response. And the hugest thing is, like you said before, is that response. If there's a hesitation and you say, well, no, I'm like, oh, perfect. So I'm going to ask you again. Oh, okay, so there's no interest at all selling this year, or maybe even next year. And then that's when they're going to reveal. Now, that's an open-ended question. That's what they're most likely going to open up to me at some point and give me some type of reason.
Hold right there. Sorry to interrupt you again. I just want to clarify open-ended versus closed questions for everybody listening. And for those of you that understand, sorry, roll your eyes at me right now if you want to. But open-ended question is that they cannot say yes or no. They have to give you a response. Correct. This now allows you to dig deeper to find out what their need is, their motivation is. Sorry, Mike. Keep going.
That's fine, and that's pretty much it. So by me saying, are they looking to sell this year, or or even next year? So they can't just say yes, no. They sound like that's not a response. They're gonna say, well, no, probably not till next year. I'm retiring, or the kids are moving out next year. Like you get that answer from them, and then at that point in time, for me, I have to then judge: is this a hot lead? Is it a warm lead? Is it somebody I need to follow up with next year? And at that point in time, I'm able to categorize that person. And then I'm able to then put them in that category to how much I need to follow up with them. So someone who says, yeah, I'm possibly looking at selling this year. Beautiful. Where are you planning to move to next? And that wording comes right from the Mike Ferry script, right? So where do you plan on moving to next, right? You can say it in many different ways. Where's the next move to? You planning to move out of the city or downsizing? Well, we want to move north. We want to get out of the city. The kids have left. Oh, perfect. Okay. Have you found? And then you're just having a conversation. It's not rocket science. It's just a logical conversation that you're asking questions that have some type of meaning to them to relay the information back to you. And when you break it down, it's so simple.
Oh, it really is. I mean, it comes down to conversation. Right? Like it literally just comes down to conversation with people and then trying to see what is it that where are they at today, right? What's their motivation or what is their plan, or no, we're not going anywhere, right?
I get people telling me the only time I'm leaving this house is in a pine box.
Yeah.
Many of them like, oh, that's kind of morbid, but okay, great. Have a great day. Thank you very much. And I'll do the next, right? Or some people, where am I going to move to next, right? But you do get the people who are looking. There's always people looking to sell and move and to relocate. And if you're able to provide that information, and again, so for me, when I'm calling, I want all the information in front of me. The dialer I use, I'm able to see what the front of their house looks like. So when I'm
Oh,
calling
really,
that,
eh?
yeah, when I'm calling that person, they're like, oh yeah, you live at 123 Anywhere Street. Yeah, oh yeah, you have that green garage. Or I had one and I recorded it. I said, oh, I love your front door. Where did you get that front door from?
Dude, that's a little creepy. No.
It is, but I tell them because I grew up in the area and my parents still live in the
I
area.
love it.
Tell them I probably rode my bike up down your street billions of times. Like I
Oh,
probably
buddy.
hopped through your backyard at one point. So for me to say that, they feel comfortable because they know I know the
You're the
area.
one who broke my fence. No, I'm joking.
There you go.
No, but it's you're now bringing you're now connecting dots to the fact that again you're not a fly by night. I mean, for everybody, one of the worst things that you can do, biggest waste of time and biggest waste of your own money, is to start farming an area. And farming could be drop one flyer, one postcard, make one door knock, make one cold call, and never do anything again.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's the worst thing you can do because there's just no connection. I'm going to call your bluff every time. I'm going to say, I don't know who the hell you are. But the minute I get to know you, we'll start to talk to each other.
Yeah. Like for flyers, I tell people all the time, you're going to flyer neighborhood. That's amazing. You're building mind share. It's another avenue of your marketing.
I like that term. I'm going to use it.
But don't expect a phone call from your flyers.
Right. Well, but the same thing, right? It's if you're going to flyer, and it's the same thing as at Kits, we offer flyers, and it's the same thing I tell everybody. If you're going to do it, are you going to cold call and or door knock? Oh, no. Don't buy the flyers.
Then that's
what do you mean, Dave?
It's like a tripod. It's a tripod of marketing that all has to fit together. That solidifies your existence to them.
So the people that you're calling is technically your farm area.
100%.
And those people in your dialer that you're using, are they in there now as a so-called contact list?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're in there as a dialer. So the way the dialer separates it is people that have been contacted and people have not been contacted. So you have to categorize everybody that you contact through.
Okay, got it. And so now, and it's allowing you to basically categorize that so that you know, A, who you're calling, B, maybe how frequently to call these people.
Dialer set up not to call somebody within a couple of days. So if I call them today, I won't call them again tomorrow. It won't call them for another 48 hours or 72 hours.
Interesting. So, okay, I guess we're right on that topic. How often are you calling people? I mean, and again, everybody's going to change. And I think that's the best strategy to have is kind of feel it out and go, should I be calling Michael back tomorrow or in 2 days or like, don't call this guy for 6 months because he might just come to my office with a pitchfork. How do you kind of gauge how often you want to be in touch with these people?
What's their motivation? Again, it comes down to when are they looking to sell? Is that person looking to sell in the fall time? Are they looking to sell by the end of the year? Right. And that's the hugest thing. If you have no friggin' clue and you hung up the phone because the guy said he's interested in selling and that was it, then you're basically left in the dark. When does he want to sell? He wants to sell before Christmas because he wants to go blah, 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 up north or whatever it happens to be. I need to get on the phone with him now. I need to let him know, listen, the fall market's approaching. Let's get this on the market right now, or let's try to look into putting it on the market. Or I have some people looking in the area, looking to buy. Would you be willing to look at an offer without even going on the market?
Right. And so how do you then, I mean, may I ask, and don't share with us this stuff again if you don't want to, how do you get somebody at that point then to go, I mean, you've essentially gone through and filtered through and said, you pre-screened them, pre-qualified them, let's say. Yeah, this person's motivated. Yes, there's some desire there to do something. How do you get to that next step? What is that next step? Is it, let's get together, let me come to your house, come meet me in my office? Like, can I send you something? What do you do?
So it's a huge evolution of cold calling. And I tell people this all the time. You're going to start off cold calling and you're going to be crappy at it. You're then going to start to talk to people and be pretty good at it, but you won't be able to book appointments. Then you're going to book appointments. You're not going to get any listings. And then you're finally at that one point, you're going to be able to convert. So for me, following up with people is huge. My next step is always, I want to go take a look at the house. Is it possible for me to come by and take a look at it? There's different mindsets on that. So there's people that say, well, I'm not going to come to the house unless this person is looking to buy or sell in the next 3 months.
Right.
That's a hot lead. But for me, I view it differently. It's somebody in my farm area. It's building a connection.
Yep.
If the person's not looking to sell till springtime, I'm still going to go over, introduce myself. I have a listing package that I send them. I'm building that connection with them and be able to face-to-face talk to them. So for me, if I can get in front of people, regardless if they're looking to sell now or at some point, I want to go see them. So that's my perspective. You talk to some other coaches and they say, don't waste your time unless that person's ready with their pen in their hand, ready to sign that night. Don't go to that house. I don't view it that way. I view it as a long-term relationship, and following up is huge.
So how long are you going to their house for? Is it 10 minutes? Is it 15? Are you there for an hour? Does it change based on who you're with? Do you bring coffee and donuts? What's the deal there?
So it all depends. So basically, I talk to you. Let's say you're looking at selling maybe by the end of the year, maybe possibly. I'm going to drop off a listing presentation package to you today. So in the mail, you're going to get a booklet in the mail from me by today, and that way you'll have it before you even arrive tomorrow.
Oh, I love that move. Yeah, set the stage,
That's
buddy.
right. That's right. And on the front of that is your house, a picture of your house with your name on it. It's personalized for you. And it's a booklet about myself, my testimonials, my process. And on the back, there's a little questionnaire. So the biggest, hugest thing is that I went into one appointment where I dropped that off. She had the back already filled out. Your maintenance fees, what you have a set of keys. I already knew I got the listing. Like, it was so easy at that point. It's just now finessing it to making sure, get them to sign everything. So for me, the huge thing is standing out. So I drop off a package. I go to your house tomorrow. I walk through the property with you, and I'm going to feel you out. I'm not here to push. I was never that type of person. That's my character. I will push when I need to. But if it's not something you're comfortable with, then I'm not going to make you do something you're not comfortable.
Okay, I got it.
So if you're looking to sell and you are willing to sell and you're willing to put a sign on the front lawn, yes, guess what? I'm going to be on you. I'm going to ask you, let's get something going today. Can I show it? Like, I'll ask all those questions. We'll walk through the property. And at the end of it, if you feel the house is best left in my hands and that I can make you the most amount of money possible, let's put something on paper. Very simple. If you're not confident in my abilities, then by all means, go ahead and call somebody else. But I can tell you right now that I'm probably the best agent for you that's going to make you the most money in this house because I'm confident in my abilities.
And so now you've taken the call. You've basically gotten into the house, right? So, and guys, if we always keep going back to the 7 ways to communicate, that phone call, that text message, and that in person, those are the active touch points that, well, we as people need to be doing with other people in order for anything that we've got our brands, our businesses to grow. That's really, really important. So then with that, Mike, what the results that you're looking for when you're doing the call is either yes, they're motivated, no, they're not. And then beyond that, it could just be a hi, how you doing? Beyond that, it could be let's have a meeting. Those are kind of your 3 or 4 different results, I guess, we're going down. And that's a great mindset to have in your head before you go there, because at least with that, now you're going to be able to go, yeah, when I hear those 80 no's, I'm okay with this. This is important, right? I've got to hear the no before I get those yeses, that triple, double, grand slam, right? So then to set the stage for the call, prior to doing the call, you have, lined yourself up. You've got your dialer. You're ready to go. You're into your groove. But let's go before that now for a second. Going into the call, we've got some expected results. This is important. So everybody's got to, again, prepare themselves mentally for this. What do you do in terms of research about that house? And is there a lot, or is it because of the specific system you're using, that system will say, here are the notes, here's the house, and because you know the neighborhood, you kind of already got a sense of what that call is going to be about when you make it?
Yeah, so I have 2 screens all the time. So my very first thing is that even it's habit for me in the morning. I'm going to see what's listed in the area I'm calling, what's sold, is it sold conditional, are there any new listings in that area? The last thing I want to do is call somebody and their next door neighbor's house is for sale and I don't know about it.
True, right? Yeah, good point, man.
So I want to be able to know that right off the bat. So that's the first thing I do is pull that up. And then the general information I know of the area is because I already know about it. So people are not so much hung up on whether they want to know that you're competent enough to handle the sale and that you can connect with them. If they feel comfortable with you and if they feel that you're competent to handle the sale, you're already in the books. But if you don't know what you're talking about, if you fumble, if you hesitate, they sense that right off the bat. So for me, knowing all the information right off the start is huge. Knowing the area, knowing the house, knowing the street, knowing what's for sale, knowing what's sold. Because as they always say, you always want to be the smartest person at the table. That's what I try to do.
And I love it when I get cold called at home and so, again, if you're going to call me, be prepared, because when you list off what brokerage you're at, I'm probably going to give you the intersection. Right. And I don't care what part of the country it's in. So I've got people that'll call and they'll say, oh yeah, I'm with such and such a brokerage. And I say, oh, you're located over at, and it's like not even close to my neighborhood. And they go all of a sudden like, are you a realtor? I'm like, no. And now you've got them all like puzzled, like, how do I know that? Right. But I don't tell them who I am. I just keep, okay, so how can I help you? Well, we're just working in the neighborhood and we just wanted to let you know and blah, blah, blah. Just wondering if you're interested in selling. And I come back and I go, are you really working in the neighborhood? Well, my colleagues are. Well, who's your colleagues? Well, people from our other location are. And all of a sudden you realize somebody's calling you from like miles away, you know, different town, different city, whatever. I guess the idea there says, I know you don't know my neighborhood. Therefore, the competency of being able to get me the best dollars, you're not there for me. You're there for you.
Exactly.
You're not coming in.
Well, it's funny because for me, it's a little bit of a different situation. So I live in the Vaughan area. My office and license is held in the Vaughan area, but I work in Etobicoke.
Right.
So
but you grew up in that Etobicoke area.
I know the area like the back of my hand. So there's my validity. That's where I can validate that I know what I'm talking about. My first house was on that street. So that's when I start to kind of build that confidence. Say, listen, I know I lived on this street. I'm calling you. I was 5 houses down. I know this person, this person, this person. I know what the area is like. So that's where I build that validity with that person, or that confidence with that person. So yeah, and stuff like you're saying are, how do you handle that objection? And that's what makes a good agent to be able to handle that or not, right? Whether you're with a big brokerage or small brokerage, or whether you work in an area and your license is somewhere else, or all that kind of stuff, that's an objection. That is, you should have known that way beforehand, and you should be able to handle an objection before you picked up that phone. And role playing, practicing, doing all that stuff is how you sharpen that skill.
Absolutely. And like you said before too, it was a process for you of you got knocked down many times before you really picked up and sort of found your groove. So, I mean, much the same there is again, the message around persistence and dedication. If you want it that bad, go make it happen. Be ready to realize that you're going to fail more times than you don't. But if you can stick that out, when you stick that out, you are going to win a lot more than you lose.
100%. It's funny. My old broker back in the day, and I don't know how old, he's an older gentleman, but when he started, his broker told him, go buy a car, go buy a house, go do all this stuff. He goes, I don't have any money. Don't worry, go do it, because you'll be under pressure and you'll perform that way. And that's, unfortunately, some people need to have that pressure to perform. And that's what, pressure builds diamonds, right? So
yeah, there you go. That's a good line. So we talked about building mind share. We talked about the flyer doesn't work without the cold call, or vice versa, whatever. What else are you doing to build mind share in the neighborhood? Are you doing anything? Are there other marketing tools going on? And then in that same breath, I would, answer that first part, I guess.
So I do that. What I do is the hockey arena that I grew up playing hockey in, I do it once a year where I hand out pumpkins.
Now you guys know why I like this guy so much. It's a hockey thing.
I grew up there. Actually, PK Subban played there. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. He's a Toronto boy for sure.
That's it. So what I do is I set up. I think the first game's at 6 or 7 o'clock. So 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm in front of the arena. I have my whole thing set up. I give away pumpkins. People.
Yeah, buddy. I love it.
Yeah, and I have a couple of superheroes. So the kids that come out, they take pictures with the superheroes and all that kind of stuff. They get a free pumpkin. And then last year I gave away a signed Cadre jersey. But I try to do that every year as a little something to give away.
And so this is on Halloween?
This is a couple of weeks before.
Okay. Yeah.
One of the Saturdays or Sundays.
Yeah.
During the Christmas break, I go by everybody's house that I've had contacts with. And I'll send them a little something, whether it's a little cheese board or just a little something to say hello. These are like the warm, hot leads that are, your future follow-ups. So I'll do that for certain people. But the biggest one I do is for the community is that pumpkin giveaway in October. So.
Yeah, no, so that's the big thing in the community, sort of the fall time. And I love the fact that you do that. I mean, I think client appreciation events or even, community appreciation events are massive. If you really want to get your name out there, guys, give and you shall receive. Like it is, that line is.
But it's fun, right?
But it is, man. And well, it was the same thing I said you do at the cold call yesterday. You were having fun. You just get to talk to people.
It is, right? So some people, like people, oh my God, people tell you to F off. I'm like, I very rarely have anybody actually tell me. And if they're upset, I'm so sorry to bother you, Mr. Greenspan. My apologies. I hope you have a pleasant day. Like, how can somebody tell you to F off after you just been
Buddy, I don't know if you've seen me. Like, I mean, one of the very few real estate board shows real estate shows we do anymore is Realtor Quest, just size, location, all that stuff. But I mean, dude, that's 2 days of just sitting there spitting fire and just having an absolute blast. Like just having
I
fun
couldn't
with
even
people.
get to you this year.
Okay. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just
How many times did I pass by? Like, oh, I can't see you.
yeah, like you just, but I mean, it's like
awesome.
you just said, it's fun. It's just fun. It's just be yourself, be out there with people, connect with people. And there's going to be people that don't care for you. And there's going to be people that gravitate to you. And there's going to be other people that are just a ho hum about you. And it's, but if you're there and you're staple and you're persistent about it, now people are going to recognize you. And it may not happen today. It could be 5 years from now, but you become that guy, that gal, right?
That's the whole idea, right? So
you're doing the pumpkins.
Yes. So and just to get down that,
yeah.
My kids as well, because my kids are there with me.
See, that's beautiful.
So they're giving, Dad, why are we doing this? Oh, we're just giving it to people, just as a good gesture. Oh, okay. They love it. They're giving out flyers. They're going to everybody. Like my wife's there, and my brother-in-law there. My mom was there last year for a little bit. So it's like it's a huge event. So people know that. Listen, I'm a real person. I'm not here. I'm not a fly-by-night guy. Yep. This is who I am. This is my character, and that's what also gives people the confidence and know that, listen, this is a decent guy. This is not a sleazy salesperson that's coming just to sell my house and say, see ya, bye, right? So
are you doing, so flyers you're not doing?
I am doing flyers.
You are doing flyers in the neighborhood?
Yes. 100%.
Okay, sorry. Are you doing email blasts in the neighborhood to those people in any way?
So everybody that's on my list gets an email from me. Yes, they do.
Social media, you running any ads in the neighborhood for social?
I do run ads every once in a while. I'll run ads for certain houses and stuff like that. And then specific for the area, yes, I do.
Okay. And then from a website perspective, you've obviously got one.
Yes.
Are there specific landing pages for the neighborhood? Do you believe that's totally necessary? Or is it more the fact that when they get to the website, they recognize who you are? There's a lot of validation to who you are. And naturally, you probably got a bunch of listings on that site anyways that are relevant to that neighborhood.
Yeah, so basically right on the first page of my website, I actually always carry a couple of exclusive listings. So exclusive, for some people don't know, is something that's not on MLS, but I actually have a contract for it.
Cool.
So when people go and see that, that's when they kind of get that's the hook for me almost, right? So it's like, oh my gosh, you have a house for sale? Yes, I do, but I don't see it on MLS. Yes, because I'm the guy for the area. And funny story with this is that I'm actually doing a deal right now.
Yep.
For a client who's looking to sell, and I showed him a house from one of my cold calls that somebody who's looking to sell, and we're going to do the deal, and it's not even on MLS, but I was able to list them off 10 properties on that street that they want, because I know I went through my list. I said, oh yeah, I have 10 people. They're not looking maybe right now, but they're looking in the near future. And I'm able to now provide this service for this client who would never have seen this house before. But because of my cold calling and my digging around and going through it, I'm able to now provide them with a house that they probably love. I know they love it, that they would never see otherwise. So
has from the online efforts you've done versus the daily bump and grind, okay, which one would you say has been more lucrative for you? And I think I got an idea on this one, but
I've tried both. I get frustrated with online leads because I can never get a hold of the damn people. I want to talk to somebody, right?
Yeah.
Like wrong numbers. When I do contact them, it seems to be okay. And we all know online leads is more of a quantity as opposed to the quality.
Yeah.
For me, it just become natural for me. I'm good on the phones. I'm happy on the phones. It goes through my list. I do my hour and a half, 2 hours a day, and I'm out of here, right? So for me, I personally like the cold call, but that doesn't necessarily mean I still do dabble in the online.
Okay. What about shop owners? What about so we just talked about the hockey rink. We talked about being out there with people. Is there other things you do? I mean, again, you're good with people. Do you go around? Do you communicate with the shop owners? And then, I mean, if you do you take it next level with them in any way? Is there anything that just initiatives in that sense?
Yes. So actually, funny thing, it's right up your alley, right? Because I see your posts of when you're at seeing Marco getting your hair cut.
Marco's the man.
I went to high school with him.
Did you really?
Yeah, we're on the
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Does he know you? Like that means
he does. Yeah, he does.
Oh my God, what a small world, eh?
Yeah. So
that's crazy. I've known him
for
probably 25 years.
I'm sorry?
I've known him for probably 25 years. He's been cutting my hair since he was a kid, just starting. And he said to me one day, "I'm going to have my own place." And I was like, totally jacked for him. And I mean, you walk into his place now, man, it's hard to get a booking. It's hard to get a seat. That kid, he's awesome.
He's doing amazing. Yeah.
He's awesome.
But anywhere I go, so basically, a little story for you. We got a puppy about 6 months ago, 4 months ago. So go to the vet. You have to go to the vet, get a shot. So when I go to the vet, I always bring.
Who's got to get the shot? You or the dog?
I don't know. Sometimes I would. Jeez. The amount of paper towels I've got in the last 3 months is astronomical, and he's not a he's a 71-pound 6-month-old puppy, so he's a big boy.
Wow.
But I went to the vet, and last time a couple weeks ago I have some like cheese platters boards that I made through a buddy of mine who makes these boards, and it's stamped, and I put some donuts on it, wrapped it up, and I brought it to them as a little something. I got 2 leads out of that from the vets that were there. One of the girls says, "Oh, we're looking to sell. We live here. We live there." And then one of the other vet technicians says, "Oh, I didn't realize you're in real estate. Thanks so much." So unless you say something or do something, it's huge. So anywhere I go, I have a roll of stickers. My kids always actually, here they are, a roll of stickers I keep in my car. I stick them everywhere, anywhere I can. My kids stick them all over the place. Anytime I go to somewhere, I always try to leave something. The barbershop I go to, I go to a Etobicoke barbershop. I have a little espresso machine there that has my sticker on it.
Yep.
I'm trying to do everything I can. And it's providing the service that makes me feel good. I use the people that I personally use. Right. And they're happy to refer me because they trust in my services, right?
Well, this is the thing too, though. It's like, I mean, it comes back to these wow calendars that we do, where I go and Marco has one, my dry cleaner has one, my butcher has one, and everybody's got one. Every time I go into those shops, it's not like I sit there and go, "Hey, do you like my calendar?" But there it is, right at the front desk,
and it's
because it's got their name in it. And now you're coming back and you're constantly shopping there. You become a loyal client to them. You've given them a gift. They're going, all you do is come in and give.
Yeah.
What are they saying about you?
100%.
Right? What are they telling other people about? I mean, here, how many deals I've gotten or introductions I've had because of Marco, a hairdresser. Oh, wow. A hairdresser connecting a realtor with a marketing strategist. Like, and he's done it so many times and people come back and go, "Buddy, thank you," that he can stand there now and go, "You've got to meet this guy." And now I've got to live up to my end of it, hands down.
But he has good judgment in the sense that he knows what you're doing. He's not given to some schlep who doesn't know what the hell he's doing, right?
And there's the idea, right? And now what you've got is you do have a referral. Now it's up. Now the process is it's up to us to take that person, build some sort of rapport, connect on a social media, or get an email, get them into a database, whether you're going full-fledged marketing to them or you're just tracking a few notes. But now it gives you an opportunity to do a follow-up. And now when I call you and I say, "Hey, remember Marco introduced us?" "Oh, yeah." Bang. Door is open to at least have a conversation.
You're on that second page of that cold call script per se, where you've already built the rapport in the relationship. And now the pressure's on you. So I always tell them, my job is not here to provide you a service. I'm here to exceed your expectations. That's what I'm here to do, is to exceed your expectations. And that's the whole idea. I have that in my head. They have it in their head. I'm here to provide you with such great service that you won't even believe it. Show you a house that wasn't even on the market, that you didn't even know existed. Like, how cool is that, right?
You know what, buddy? It seems smooth so far. So I got another question for you then. So now we've, fast forward and you've locked it in. You got the deal. We've closed. I'm done. I've moved in. Have you got a process for after the fact? Is there something else that goes on? Like, obviously I'm not back into a cold call list.
Correct.
You're obviously not going to the next week say, "Hey, thinking of selling?"
Yeah.
But what are you doing with me now that I'm there, and sort of what's that process to try to reap the benefits of referrals?
So it's just basically following up, making sure that the move went smoothly. And then, it's more of a touch. It's more of a quarterly touch with them. They're getting emails from me dependent from my newsletters and stuff like that. But it's more of a hands-off touch. Then after a couple of years, or, I keep an eye on them. So let's put this. So a lot of these people who moved in, maybe they have their second kid. Maybe they're in a townhouse now. So guess what? Now they get again, it's about being aware, following up, and that phone call has to happen where, "Hey, how's it going?" You congratulate them on their kid already. "Actually, we were going to call you. We need to kind of get a bigger house." So it all kind of rolls into it, but you cannot just leave it and forget it and say, "I'm done, see you later." And you'll never get that lead back. You never get that person back because now you've forgotten about them. How many realtors you talk to, or even clients that say, "Once my realtor sold my house, I never heard from them again"?
Well, Mindshare has a reason that it's able to exist, is because there's so much content out there for the sake that most people aren't doing the things they're supposed to get business, and they're causing themselves to work a hell of a lot harder. And so when you bring up, the newsletter and everything else, those are where I referred earlier in this to the active touch points. These become the passive ones, the things that happen in the background, like the email newsletter, the direct mail newsletter, some organic social media posting that you've got. Again, your website sitting in the background. I mean, now what you're doing is you're leveraging all 7 channels to build that mind share, keeping people in the know. So but there's also the importance of reintroducing the active touch point every once in a while of, hey, I didn't forget about you. I didn't just do the deal and leave. So are you operating with a calendar that keeps you on task for the day-to-day as well as when to reconnect with me?
Yeah, so pretty much I have somewhat of a system going with regards to that. I have I have glass walls here behind me on the right side. I have everything written down. So what I'll do this year, all my deals I did this year, they're going to get a special Christmas gift from me.
Cool.
People that have bought a couple of years ago, I'll send them maybe something a little bit less. But I always have a list going. I categorize people and deals and not deals and future follow-ups, and everyone has to get touched somehow, whether it's through a small little gift, through a phone call. But yes, I'm always making sure that I always keep those people in mind.
Which is incredibly important because, again, coming back to where that first deal came from.
Exactly. From somebody that I knew.
Right.
You're right. You caught me on that one.
But you know what though? But again, we've taken this full circle here today because it's gone from, you're a cold calling machine. You do an amazing job at it. You recognize where your business comes from. We discussed, the open-ended versus closed-ended questions and how you dig for that need, really find their motivation. Then from there, it's categorizing those people around when do I want to follow up with them? What kind of things should I be doing? At the same time, in order to make that cold call have any validity, you've got to know your area. So, you've got to do your recon and really understand who you're talking to, what's going on in the area. You got to seem knowledgeable. At the same time, you've got to build mind share through other channels, which you also spoke about. And then it comes to what do we do as the follow-up to keep bringing that back in? So now we sit here today, 9 years down the road, you're kicking ass out there, buddy. And I give you big respect for how you do it and what you're up to. You're an awesome dude. We know that. Before we take off, what would you leave as parting words to any realtor here that's watching, listening today? Anything.
Hone your craft. We're in the business of sales. If you think you can just fly by the seat of your ass and think you know what you're doing, it eventually fizzles out. So honing your craft. We're in a craft of sales, knowing how to handle objections, what to say to certain people. That is a craft that you have to practice at and be good at. At any point in time in this business, and we've seen people go up and fall down. This is a very fluid business. It's sometimes not always consistent in the sense that you expect what you get. But if you have those skills, no one can ever take them away from you. So for instance, if we ever enter a slow market and I'm cold calling, I got those skills that someone who hasn't had a chance to develop those skills yet, I'm already one step ahead of them. So I would urge anybody to get good at their business, know what they're doing, research it. That's hugely important. That's really what gets you the deal in the end.
I love it, buddy. Those are some wise words. Thank you for sharing them. Mike, where can people find you?
Anyway, I'm actually on Instagram at getsold.ca, on Facebook, Michael Samrah. I also have my Facebook page at Prospecting Ninjas. If you're in any type of sales, make sure you check it out. People always post good objections on there. I try to handle some of those stuff, give some good feedback. And that's pretty much it. LinkedIn and all that stuff. Just search for me, Mike Samrah, or getsold.ca.
Can anybody connect on Prospecting Ninjas, by the way? I know it's sort of a closed group, but at the same time, can people request to join that and be part 100%.
of it? 100%. I'll ask them a few questions, and then by all means, they can definitely join. I'll approve them, not worry.
Amazing. Michael, thank you again for making time today.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
So you're either listening to this on iTunes, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever podcasts are available. Or maybe you went to industrysyndicate.com or even mindshare101.com. Wherever you like to consume your content, please rate, review, and subscribe. And if you haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at DavidGreenspan101. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thanks everyone for listening.